Hey, good morning. I'm Michael Smerconish. I have worked in television as a commentator and guest host for years, but I have always wanted a program of my own. And this is it, and I am really psyched. It's fitting that it should air on a Saturday morning, given our political climate. See, Saturday mornings, growing up in the Philly suburbs back in the 70s, that's when my brother and I used to watch pro wrestling. We'd be down in our rec room surrounded by this cheap paneling, sitting on these hideously colored beanbag chairs. I think they were some shade of green. And on TV, we'd watch our heroes. That meant Haystacks Calhoun, or the living legend Bruno Sammartino, or my favorite, Chief Jay Strongbow. And by the way, I can still do his war dance. Well, look at me now. Today, I work in the media equivalent of the pro wrestling that I used to watch as a kid. In other words, there are good guys and there are bad guys. Every battle is good versus evil. The sides are predetermined, and every fight is choreographed. Nobody got hurt watching pro wrestling back in the day because all of our parents, they knew it was fake. But today, this media form of entertainment, it comes with a cost. It sets the tone for our public debate. Consider that in the last 30 years, we've experienced unprecedented polarization. In the early 1980s, on Ronald Reagan's watch, 60% of the Senate was comprised of moderates. Today, every Senate Republican is more conservative than every Senate Democrat. Every Senate Democrat is more liberal than every Senate Republican. Compromise, that's the new C word. Incivility reigns. Now, that's the same time period, these last 3 decades, that have marked the rise of a polarized media. And I don't believe in coincidence. I see a causal connection. I think too many elected officials are taking their cues from broadcasters who should be wearing wrestling tights. So I want to try a different approach. I want to try by covering the news of the day in a way that enhances your ability to reach your own independent conclusions. Me, I've got plenty of opinions. They just don't fit neatly into one label. I'm liberal on some things, I'm conservative on plenty of things, and there's a heck of a lot I just haven't figured out. So, one rule: there will be no litmus tests for watching. And thank you for joining me. In this polarized climate, most Republicans don't need an excuse to skewer President Obama, but they got one when Russian troops effectively seized control of the Crimea region of Ukraine. The president's critics say this is just one more example of his weakness, inviting America's adversaries to brazenly act out.
Why do we care? Because this is the ultimate result of a feckless foreign policy where nobody believes in America's strength anymore.
People are looking at Putin as one who wrestles bears and drills for oil. They look at our president as one who wears mom jeans and equivocates and bloviates.
Seeing a president that doesn't understand that a strong America leads to a peaceful, more stable world. Seeing a president who doesn't understand that a weak America leads to instability. Seeing a president who doesn't seem to understand that our allies, our enemies alike, need and want a strong America. You know, we have long thought and said this president is a smart man. It may be time to revisit that assumption.
We're joined now by a very vocal critic of the president, Republican Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee. Congresswoman, as I've been watching these events unfold over the span of the last 10 days, what occurs to me is that what makes us weak, what makes the United States weak, is when elected officials criticize the commander-in-chief in a time of crisis.
Well, I think that what we can all agree on, Michael, is that the president's track record with foreign policy has not been one of strength. And that is troublesome to people regardless of what their political affiliation is. We want to see our nation strong and healthy and vibrant and focused on protecting our sovereignty and protecting freedom, free people, and free markets. And so some of the steps the president has taken, not being sure about where to draw a red line, have led not only to the American people questioning his decisions, but I think world leaders questioning his decisions.
But
we're not going to criticize him for that now. Well, and
how
that's
does it
the
serve
thing.
our interests
See,
to portray him as something out of the old, Charles Atlas cartoon where he's getting sand kicked in his face? You speak to weakness. I a man with a mixed record. I see a man who gave the order. It seems like it was a no-brainer in retrospect, but it wasn't at the time for SEAL Team 6 to take out bin Laden. I see someone who's incrementally increased drone strike attacks. I see the NSA still spying in the name of national security. I see an air war that was supported in Libya. And what I don't understand is how this equates to weakness.
Well, and what you're describing is what we hear from so many of our constituents. It's inconsistency. And there are times where it's been very weak. There are times that he has spoken out in strength and he said the right things. But you referenced growing up and sitting in those beanbag chairs. And I bet as you were doing so, your mom, just like my mom, reminded me every day that actions speak louder than words. And what the American people would like to see is a consistency of action from this president. This is a situation that, yes, indeed, the world is watching very closely.
Well, let's address the big
concerned about
question.
an aggressive Russia. Yeah.
Congresswoman, let's address then the big question, because when you say actions, and Mom did say that, by the way, and usually she had a yardstick in her hand when she said it to my brother and me. When you say that actions speak louder than words, are you saying that Crimea warrants a U.S. troop commitment? Because this is another thing that has bothered me. I hear all the criticism of the president as a 98-pound weakling, but I don't hear Republican opponents saying we should commit troops. Are you ready to make that statement?
Michael, I think that what we should do is look at the options that are there. The president, in his phone call with Putin, has laid out some things. The international monitors, the logistical support, bringing together the talks that would be under international oversight, if you will, then looking at sanctions, and I know it's early in the process for that, and that the State Department is working on those. But certainly, that's a consideration that we should move forward on, and probably.
But it sounds
do so
like
quickly.
those are the things that he actually is doing. Permit me to ask it a different way. On the world stage, do you see a European leader right now that you perceive to be acting with the sort of strength that you wish you'd get from President Obama? And if so, who is that individual, and what is it that they are doing?
I think that what we would like to see is President Obama be more forceful and take that lead. You know, let's look at the issue of energy right now. And Speaker Boehner had a great piece in the Wall Street Journal speaking specifically on that. There are things that we could do domestically to work with our European allies in the energy sector. With LNG, you know, the House took an action itself last week to allow, or this week, to allow loan guarantees for the Ukrainian people. Wide bipartisan support. What we need to do is realize we are Team America. We need to send this message to Russia, to China, to others that may be aggressors, and say we are not going to stand for this.
Well, that's actually where I began. When you put this in the terms of we are Team America, and maybe I should express it this way. David Ignatius had a great piece in the Post this week. He interviewed former Defense Secretary Gates. Secretary Gates, as you know, Congresswoman, having served for both Republicans and Democrats, himself a Republican.
Absolutely.
And he said, in a time of crisis, we need to speak with one voice. And I think that's what upsets me the most about this. We're in a crisis, but we're not. You saw that montage. We're not speaking with one voice, and some are putting politics ahead of national security. That's how I perceive it, but you get the final word.
This president has had a very weak past when it comes to foreign policy and has had difficulty in articulating a foreign policy. What we want to do is make certain that we move to a point that the world understands what our foreign policy is, and that we are going to stand with people that honor freedom, free people, free markets, and that we protect the sovereignty of the United States. That should be our goal.
Congresswoman, thanks so much. For better or worse, you're my first guest ever on CNN, and I'm appreciative. The unfinished story. Thank you. The SAT is one of the most important tests that many students will ever take, and now it's undergoing big changes. The secrets behind the overhaul and why the exam still may not be fair.
When it's Donut Friday at the office, I use my Citi Thank You card to get 2 times the points at the coffee shop, which will help me get to a beach in Miami. And they'll be stuck at the Cube Farm.
The Citi Thank You Preferred Card. Now earn 2 times the points on dining out with no annual fee. Go to Citi.com/thankyoucards.
There's a lot of foods and drinks that have acids in them, raspberries, strawberries, working at your enamel. Once it's gone, you can't get it back. I would recommend using Pronamel. Pronamel will help to reharden the enamel. I use that every day, twice a day, and I know that I am protected.
This is the cat that drank the milk and let in the dog that woke the man who drove to the control room.
Driverless mode engaged.
Find parking space.
Parking space found.
That secured the data that directed the turbines, that powered the farm, that made the milk that went to the store, that reminded the man to buy the milk that was poured by the girl who loved the cat. The Internet of Everything is changing everything. Cisco, tomorrow starts here.
I've always seen No-No on TV and I always wondered if it worked. And it definitely, I can see what everybody talks about now.
It's not a razor. It's not a laser. It's No-No from Radiancy, the #1 hair removal system in the world.
It's absolutely no pain.
Can't put the difference out. It's almost hair-free.
No-No gives you no hair with no pain.
Well, I saw it on TV and they said it was painless, right? I didn't really believe it, but now that I'm trying it, it feels completely painless.
And now, No-No is better than ever. Introducing the new No-No Pro. It's up to 35% more powerful. Imagine never having to shave again.
I like a close shave. Absolutely. And this is better than that. I mean, it's gone.
No more facial hair. No more embarrassment.
I've always been self-conscious of my hairline, so putting my hair back, this will be perfect for me.
And for that man in your life, there's No-No for him too.
It looks like just like you've got a fresh wax, but like you don't have to go through all the pain.
Call now and we'll send you the cordless No-No Pro in your choice of colors. Featuring an LCD display, it comes with up to 5 treatment levels. Plus, we'll include everything you need to get rid of your unwanted hair. A set of Thermicon tips specially designed for your face and body. A buffer pad to exfoliate, polish your skin. Plus, act now and we'll send you the No-No travel case as a free gift. And get this, you can try No-No risk-free for not 30 days, but 60 days with our triple guarantee. If you are not 100% satisfied, return it and we'll refund the purchase price, refund the shipping, and even pay the return postage. Try No-No risk-free today.
I need to get myself one of these right now.
Absolutely.
For your 60-day trial, go to nono.com or call 1-800-950-6350. That's 1-800-950-6350.
If you're like me, this image still strikes fear in your heart. I took the SATs. We all did, right? I remember that stress and the questions and the empty circles. The clock is ticking. Your future may depend on getting all the answers right. The College Board, the group behind the SAT, just announced sweeping changes to the test that will take effect in the spring of 2016. There's an unfinished story here about the reasons for the overhaul and whether it will help students get better scores. Todd Balfe wrote the New York Times Magazine cover story for tomorrow about the test and its role in education. He joins me now from Boston. Hey, Todd, no joke, if Jeffrey Zucker were aware of my SAT score back in the day, Central Bucks West, class of 1980, he'd have never given me the gig on CNN, which explains my bias against the test. My question for you, how did a test that was designed to reveal diamonds in the rough turn out to be a test that many of us think rewards privilege?
Well, I think that, the whole idea behind the SAT, and by the way, just to mention, I think that you and me both would be, given my SAT score, I'm not sure I'd be working for the New York Times either. So I think we're in agreement there. But yeah, I think that the idea with the SAT historically was that it would serve the interests of a meritocracy, that this was going to be a standardized test that people could do equally well on. The problem is that it's very socioeconomically based. There's been a lot of discriminatory issues over the years with it. So, it's been problematic, and certainly the test and the College Board as a whole has a pretty significant and has had a pretty significant PR problem.
Well, is it possible to develop a test that can't be gamed? I read your piece. Your piece is terrific and gives a great insight into the thought process, but at the end of it, I was still wondering, even with these changes, will those who can afford to hire a prep service still have a significant edge?
Well, that's the big question, right? I mean, we're still early in this process. They've just announced the changes. You know, I think they've contracted with the Khan Academy, a well-respected online resource for students to help everybody. So the idea, you know, the way David Coleman, who is the president of the College Board, the relatively new president of the College Board, explained it to me, is that this is a nudge, that there should be additional changes coming down the pike. And I don't think, you know, this is a huge issue, right? It encompasses all of education. Our students being prepared equally at the high school level. I think we pretty much all in agreement know that that isn't the case. So
well, you make
this has to happen.
You make reference to some research by folks, some academics associated with Bates College, and what they point out is that when you do a comparison at those schools where it's not necessary that your application include an SAT score, you find a very negligible difference between students who were admitted with no SAT score and those who were admitted by filing an SAT score, which of course begs the question of maybe the whole thing ought to be ditched.
Correct, right, and it's a very significant study. You know, there have been so-called test optional schools dating back for decades, many of them small liberal schools. But this was the first study to look at a large swath of schools, a lot of different types of schools. I think there's 30 different universities and colleges that were looked at. And this is a very significant study. And I think, but the fact of the matter is that still 80% of four-year colleges require the SAT. And I think the issue is complicated. There's a lot of, because of the common application, there's a huge number of applications that college admissions offices are trying to funnel through. And I mean, I know, I'm here in the Northeast in the Boston area, a school like Northeastern sees 50,000 applications. It's kind of problematic to think that a school that size could do.
What occurred to me in reading your piece, and I hope everybody reads it tomorrow in the Times, is that if we go the achievement route, it's really going to put the onus on teachers. Todd Baugh, thank you so much for being on the program. That's tomorrow's New York Times Magazine. The headlines redefined. We're finding out for the first time who really blew the whistle on the Penn State abuse scandal.
What's powerful enough for NASCAR and strong enough for extreme powerboat racing? Hi, Phil Swift here for Flex Seal. Flex Seal Bright and Flex Seal Clear. The brand everyone trusts to coat, seal, and stop leaks fast.
I'm NASCAR driver Landon Castle, and I don't race without Flex Seal.
I drive this boat 100 miles an hour, and when I get a leak, I use Flex Seal because I know it works.
Just a quick shot and Flex Seal fills cracks and holes, stopping the toughest leaks while remaining completely flexible. It's actually liquid rubber in a can.
Does not leak, it works beautifully. Fantastic stuff.
And for places that are light, you're gonna love Flex Seal Bright. This bright coating is ideal on lighter surfaces. Flex Seal Clear to coat and protect. Now everything in plain sight can be sealed watertight. There's virtually no limit to what you can do with the power of Flex Seal.
We spray with Flex Seal.
Sealed it with Flex Seal.
No leaks.
It works great. It's perfect.
It's the miracle product.
Roofs and gutters, pools and patios, kitchens and bathrooms. Use Flex Seal anywhere you want to coat, seal, and protect.
Sprayed it on the inside of my gutters. I haven't had a leak since.
It sealed every crack. It sealed every hole.
No leaks. It's the best.
Don't call a repairman to fix leaks. You can get Flex Seal in clear, original, or bright for just $19.99. Millions of loyal customers agree. Flex Seal is the easy way to coat, seal, and stop leaks fast. And to thank all our Flex Seal fans, we're going to send you 2 cans in your choice of clear, original, or bright, all for just $19.99. You're going to love Flex Seal. Here's how to order.
To order Flex Seal, call 1-800-640-7063 or go GetFlexSeal.com. Available in clear, original, or bright. Call or go online now.
I think, we've been terribly and systematically misled.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta is back with more on weed. His first report changed minds, but that was just the beginning.
We went from about 150 calls a month to over 4,000.
And when it comes to medical marijuana, the stakes are only getting higher. For this family, it could be the only option.
It's a horrible thing to have to see your daughter suffer like this.
A special hour, Weed 2 Cannabis Madness, Tuesday night at 10 Eastern and Pacific on CNN.
You wanna come with, I wanna go along. We can turn this place into a whole.
Bring your home to life with Wayfair.com. Shop every style of furniture and decor. One easy-to-use site. We're adding new deals every day with thousands of items up to 70% off, plus free shipping. Start saving at Wayfair.com today.
Find out why savvy moms everywhere are shopping Zulily.com, the leading daily deal site for moms, babies, and kids, offering up to 70% off boutique styles.
Zulily is the best deal going. Cannot wait to get on and see what's new.
Every day there's something new to discover. Adorable dresses, colorful tutus, and cute shoes for life on the go.
If you don't buy it when you see it, you might miss out.
Zulily.com, a big selection of styles for a small window of time.
New day, the most news in the morning. Monday starting at 6 Eastern on CNN.
Headlines redefined. The headlines in big, bold print that may have missed the mark. Number one, this one from ESPN.com read, sources say McQueary abused as a boy. This is what I think it should have been. Penn State fan blows whistle to DA after abuse revealed in online chat. And I refer to excellent reporting at ESPN's magazine by Don Van Natta Jr. under the headline, The Whistleblower's Last Stand. You remember Mike McQueary in the context of the Penn State story? Mike McQueary, the big redhead, he was a star quarterback, then goes on to be an assistant coach under the tutelage of Joe Paterno. It's Mike McQueary who sees something despicable take place in a Penn State shower in 2001 involving Jerry Sandusky, but we all know he didn't call the police. And I have often wondered, how did law enforcement find out about Mike McQueary and what he saw in the shower? And now we know the story, and it's unbelievable. Don Van Natta reports that 9 years after the shower incident, McQueary's older brother is involved in an online chat pertaining to Penn State football. And some random Penn State fan says, do you ever think Jerry Sandusky had a head coaching job? McQueary's brother responds by saying, heck no, my brother walked in on him with a young boy in the shower. Here's the kicker. That individual, and let me give him a shout out because he's a hero, Christopher Hauser, he did immediately what Mike McQueary never did. He saw that report in the email chat and he sent a report to the DA in Centre County, Pennsylvania. The Centre County DA acted on that tip, reached out for McQueary, and got his story. In other words, the person participating in the online chat did what McQueary should have done 9 years prior. That's a heck of a story. Nora, give me another one. This one comes from the San Antonio Express News. New evidence of wrongful conviction. But behind that headline, there is so much more to this story. Maybe the headline should have been Governor Abbott or Governor Davis may have to admit that Texas killed an innocent man. That would be more like it. You know, over the years, I've been involved in any number of debates pertaining to the death penalty as a death penalty proponent. And like others, I have said to those who are in opposition to the death penalty, well, name for me one individual who was put to death that we now conclusively can say was innocent. People aren't able to answer that question. That may be about to change. Cameron Todd Willingham was executed in Texas in 2004 for having killed his 3 daughters. The evidence that caused his conviction, twofold: a jailhouse snitch and also so-called arson expert testimony. Well, the arson expert testimony has been discounted, has been disproven now, and aspersions have been cast on the jailhouse snitch, which is what that San Antonio Express headline is all about. But here's what I think is really going on in this story. Rick Perry, the governor of Texas, is on his way out. Rick Perry has never wavered in his belief that Cameron Todd Willingham got what he deserved. I think the likelihood is strong that his successor, whether that's Greg Abbott, whether that's Wendy Davis, might soon after taking office in Texas have to come to terms with the fact that Texas did in fact execute an innocent individual. And that will change the death penalty debate. David Gran from The New Yorker deserves all the credit for bringing that story to light. Headlines redefined. Hey, hang out for a few minutes. I have a secret that I've been keeping for more than a year. Al Snyder's been keeping it for a lot longer than that, and you're about to meet him.
Did you know the average person smiles more than 50 times a day? So brighten your smile a healthy way with Listerine Whitening Plus Restoring Rinse. It's the only rinse that makes your teeth 2 shades whiter and 2 times stronger. Listerine Whitening, power to your mouth.
So you tell me your mom has a mom cave?
Hi, boys. I've made you Campbell's Chunky New England Clam Chowder.
Wow, this is incredible.
I know, and now it has more clams.
Campbell's Chunky Soup.
What?
Fills you up right. Okay, listen up. I'm reworking the menu. Mayo, corn dogs, you are so out of here.
The complete balanced nutrition of great tasting Ensure. 24 vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, and 9 grams of protein.
Ensure, nutrition in charge.
I've always seen No-No on TV and I always wondered if it worked. And it's definitely, I can see what everybody talks about now.
It's not a razor. It's not a laser. It's No-No from Radiancy, the #1 hair removal system in the world.
Absolutely no pain.
Can't believe the difference, Al. It's almost hair-free.
No-No gives you no hair with no pain.
Well, I saw it on TV and they said it was painless, right? I didn't really believe it, but now that I'm trying it, it feels completely painless.
And now, No-No is better than ever. Introducing the new No-No Pro. It's up to 35% more powerful. Imagine never having to shave again.
I like a close shave.
Absolutely.
And this is better than that. I mean, it's gone.
No more facial hair. No more embarrassment.
I've always been self-conscious of my hairline, so putting my hair back, this will be perfect for me.
And for that man in your life, there's No-No for him too.
It looks like just like you've got a fresh wax, but like you don't have to go through all the pain.
Call now and we'll send you the cordless No-No Pro in your choice of colors. Featuring an LCD display, it comes with up to 5 treatment levels. Plus, we'll include everything you need to get rid of your unwanted hair. A set of Thermicon tips, specially designed for your face and body. A buffer pad to exfoliate and polish your skin. Plus, act now and we'll send you the No-No travel case as a free gift. And get this, you can try No-No risk-free for not 30 days, but 60 days with our triple guarantee. If you are not 100% satisfied, return it and we'll refund the purchase price, refund the shipping, and even pay the return postage. Try No-No risk-free today.
I need to get myself one of these right now.
Absolutely.
Your 60-day trial, go to nonopro.com or call 1-800-950-6350. That's 1-800-950-6350.
The secret is out. Hydration is in.
Only Aveeno Daily Moisturizing Lotion has an active naturals oat formula that creates a moisture reserve so skin can replenish itself. Aveeno.
Naturally beautiful results.
My first thought was 8 justices don't have the common sense God gave a goat.
That was Al Snyder. Back in 2011, the U.S. Supreme Court had just ruled the Westboro Baptist Church had the right to free speech when the group protested outside of Snyder's son's funeral. Marine Lance Corporal Matthew Snyder, 20 years old, when he was killed in Iraq in 2006. The signs that Westboro members carried outside of Matt's funeral, despicable. In fact, I'm not even going to read them aloud. Al Snyder has been keeping a secret for a while, and he's here to share it with us now. What's the secret?
Well, the whole time I was going through this, I managed to keep from the media that while I was fighting this hate group, gay hate group, that I myself was gay.
Why keep it a secret during the course of the multi-years of litigation?
Well, in the beginning of the process, my partner and I made the decision that we would not share this because we didn't want to turn this into a gay issue. It wasn't a gay issue. It was a human issue, and we felt like everybody had the right to be buried peacefully. I'm sure Westboro would have had a field day had they known, and after losing a son and going through what I did with the Westboro Church, I just didn't want to deal with any more on top of it.
You gave me the privilege of telling your story in long form for Politico magazine. Please tell the CNN audience, who was Walt Fisher?
Walt was my partner for many years. He was a good man. I could not have gone through what I went through without him by my side. He was the one I confided in. He was the one that was there for the tears. He was the one that was there for the glory, but he never got any glory for it. And I think it's time people know that this man played a very important role in the outcome of this trial, for me at least, and I wish he could see the outcome of the trial.
In other words, individuals such as myself praise you for the strength that you had to stand up to Westboro Baptist, to take them all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States. You want folks to know that all the while, Walt was there at your side.
The whole time.
Including sitting in the chambers of the Supreme Court.
Yes. He in the chambers of the Supreme Court during the first federal trial. Walt was not with me. He did testify in the federal courts, but every other day that he wasn't testifying, he stayed off. We didn't want the jury to be distracted by him being in the courtroom.
And Al, this was kept out of the case, and it was kept out of the case because a federal judge appointed by George W. Bush said, your sexuality has no place. When questions would be asked of you, depositions, or in other aspects of the discovery phase, this judge, Judge Bennett, said, not going to let that happen.
He did, and I was very grateful to Judge Bennett, especially when they requested my medical records, and there were portions of the medical record that did indicate that I was gay, and Judge Bennett gave them the medical records but blocked anything out of the records that dealt with that.
You allowed me to read, and Nora, if we have that envelope, please put it up on the screen. You allowed me to read letters. There's one of them that your son would send to you from basic training, Parasite. I mean, look at the way it's addressed. Dad, 760 Spring Street Lane, York, Pennsylvania. In reading those letters, he would acknowledge, he would give a shout out, he would ask about Mr. Walt. And I guess my question is, how was Matt, your son, your Marine son, with your relationship?
Matt was fantastic. Him and Walt had a great relationship. They would do things together. They would talk a lot. I remember the night that Matt found out, or the night that we discussed my relationship with Matt. He was probably around 14, and we were sitting there, and he said to me, "Is Mr. Walt gay, Dad?" And I said, "Well, would it make a difference?" And Matt said to me, "Well, it would if you were." And I said, "Really?" He said, "Well," and that I said to him, I said, "Matt, Walt is gay, and so am I." And he just kind of looked at me and nodded, and I said, "Are you gay?" And Matt said, "No, I'm straight. I like girls." And I said to him, "Well, when did you decide you were going to like girls?" And he just kind of looked at me and said, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "Well, when did you decide you wanted to like girls?" And he said, "Well, just kind of came natural." And I just looked at him and nodded, and I guess a couple seconds later he got it, and he was fine with it. I'm sure there were times that, he thought about it, but, he was still close to Walt and still close to me.
Westboro, it seems, figured out during the course of the litigation that you were gay. They weren't permitted to bring it in. But the point I want to make clear is that Matthew, your son, was a heterosexual.
Yes, he was.
Westboro didn't know when they showed up at the funeral what you've now shared with the world. They singled you out and showed up with all that hate without any knowledge whatsoever, and you decided to keep it a secret. you were the recipient of an outpouring of support from the left, from the center, from the right. Have you considered whether you would have been the beneficiary of all of that support in fighting Westboro if America knew at the time that you were gay?
I don't know that, Michael, but I wasn't about to take that chance. I think I would have still had a lot of support. And I did have a lot of support from the right, the left, straight, gay people, but I wasn't willing to take that chance.
Al, when the whole case was over, you received a communication from a supporter. I want you to tell that story. A person who said to you, don't worry about the Phelpses. Fred Phelps and his family members are the Westboro Baptist Church. You know what I'm referring to.
Yeah, after we went through after we got the decision from the Supreme Court, the next day I got an email from someone, and it actually felt like a death threat against the Westboro Baptist Church.
What did you do with it?
I called my attorney first and showed him the email that I got, and he got in touch with Steve Six, who was the Attorney General at that time out in Kansas, and it was turned over to the FBI.
In other words, you were concerned that someone was going to do harm to the leadership of Westboro Baptist. And even though they had treated you in such a despicable fashion for a period of years, and they still do, you undertook those measures to protect them.
Right. I don't want to see anybody get hurt out of this, Michael. I just wanted to bury my son in peace. And I don't want to see anybody get hurt. Do I like the Westboro Baptist Church? No. Could I give my opinion of them on camera? No. But yeah, I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
May I just thank you for your courage? Gay, straight, makes no difference. You stood up to some folks who really are degenerates, in my opinion, the way in which they've treated you and other military families, and the courage that you showed in staring them down. I only wish the Supreme Court had been 8-1 the other way, but all praise to you for telling the story and for fighting that good fight. Thank you.
Michael.
God bless your son.
Thank you.
I am addicted to True Detective, and I am hoping the season finale tomorrow night is going to live up to all my expectations. Stick around and find out why I think it's the best show on TV.
Predicting the future is a pretty difficult thing to do, but manufacturing in the United States means advanced technology.
We learned that technology allows us to be craft-oriented.
No one's losing their jobs. There's no beer robot that has suddenly chased them out. The technology is actually creating new jobs.
Siemens designed and built the right tools and resources to get the job done.
All we do is go out to dinner.
That's it?
I mean, he picks up the tab every time, which is great.
He's using you. He probably has a Citi Thank You card and gets 2 times the points at restaurants.
Huh.
The Citi Thank You Preferred Card. Now earn 2 times the points on dining out with no annual fee. Go to Citi.com/thankyoucards.
Humans. Even when we cross our T's and dot our I's, we still run into problems. Namely, other humans. Which is why at Liberty Mutual Insurance, auto policies come with new car replacement and accident forgiveness if you qualify. See what else comes standard at libertymutual.com. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility. What's your policy?
We all have to plan for retirement. But when we start worrying about tomorrow, we miss out on what matters today. At AXA, we offer advice and help you break down your retirement goals into small, manageable steps. Because when you plan for tomorrow, it helps you live for today. Can we help you take a small step? For advice, retirement, and life insurance, connect with AXA.
Frequent heartburn? The choice is yours. Chalky. Not chalky. Temporary. 24-hour. Lots of tablets. 1 pill. You decide. Prevent acid with Prevacid 24-hour.
Most people have never even heard of acid erosion. There's a lot of foods and drinks that have acids in them that you might not know about. Salad dressings, raspberries, strawberries, they all have acid in them, and it's working at your enamel. Once the enamel is gone, it's gone. You can't get it back. I would recommend using Pronamel as your regular toothpaste. Pronamel will help to reharden the enamel that is softened by the acids in our daily diet. Knowing what I know about Pronamel, I use that every day, today, and I know that I am protected.
We needed 30 new hires for our call center.
I'm spending too much time hiring and not enough time in my kitchen.
Need to hire fast? Go to ZipRecruiter.com and post your job to over 30 of the web's leading job boards with a single click. Then simply select the best candidates from one easy-to-review list.
You put up one post, and the next day you have all these candidates.
Makes my job a lot easier.
Over 100,000 businesses have already used ZipRecruiter. And now you can use ZipRecruiter for free at a special site for TV viewers. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/offer5.
Sailing through the heart of cities and landscapes with Viking, you'll see things differently. You'll get closer to iconic landmarks, to local life and cultural treasures. It's a feeling that only a river can give you, that only Viking can give you. Spend less time getting there and more time being there. Viking River Cruises, exploring the world in comfort.
I'd consider myself a realist, all right? But in philosophical terms, I'm what's called a pessimist.
Okay, what's that mean?
Means I'm bad at parties.
Let me tell you, you ain't great outside the parties either.
Hey, have you been watching the HBO show True Detective? It is really filled the void for folks like me who are mourning the loss of Breaking Bad. Well, tomorrow night is the season finale. And if you've seen any of the other episodes, you know anything can happen. Christopher Orr is the senior editor and film critic for The Atlantic. He's been following it as closely as I have. Christopher, I think the appeal of this show is as follows. If I'm watching a TV show, if I'm watching a movie with my wife, I want to see the gratuitous sex and violence. She's into the messaging. She wants the signs. She wants the symbols. It's like we're watching two different films or two different shows. It's something for both of us, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. What do you think the appeal is of True Detective?
Well, I wrote halfway through the season that it was the best show on television, which is a risky thing to do when a show is only midway through. And so far, I think it's lived up to that assessment. A lot really hinges on the finale tomorrow night. It is a mystery, and I tend to think that a mystery is only as good as its conclusion. But I think there are several things. I think the writing is tremendous. I think Matthew McConaughey in the lead role as Rust Cole is just mesmerizing, one of the best television performances
unbelievable.
I've seen. And Woody Harrelson, too. I mean, it's got really 2 stars at the top of their game.
You know, for the benefit of those who've not been watching, and hurry up and get caught up if you're in that category, I wonder if this is going to change the television model, because the show will continue, but this plot point ends tomorrow night. It's the equivalent of an 8-hour movie, and while there'll be something on HBO next year called True Detective, it's not going to look anything like what's on the screen right now.
That's exactly right. This is basically a miniseries. It's an 8-part movie with 2 stars, neither of whom is going to return here. The show next year, if it indeed is on next year, it might be a little later, is going to have a new cast. It's going to be set in a new location. It's going to have an entirely separate plot. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this coming in television for a lot of reasons. I mean, one is simply that you can get stars like Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson to commit to 6 months or so, which is very different from getting somebody to commit for 5 years to a regular television show.
Is television where the action is now? I mean, after Bryan Cranston and that fabulous cast in Breaking Bad, now we're buzzing about True Detective. Do the A-list Hollywood actors and actresses now want to be associated with a TV project where in the past it was all about film?
I think that's absolutely right. I think it's been a gradual shift over the last decade or so, starting back with the excellence of The Sopranos and The Wire. But more and more you've seen sort of big TV or big film stars who have been moving to the small screen. And later this year, for instance, Cinemax is putting on a miniseries directed by Steven Soderbergh, a major film director, starring Clive Owen about a turn-of-the-century hospital. And I think this is a model we're going to see more and more going forward.
Hey, before you leave me, Nora, if you can put up on the screen the beer can stick figures, and Christopher, you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Seems, look at you laughing. It seems like we're headed for resolution based on 5 characters, maybe symbolized by the way in which Matthew McConaughey was making those stick figures out of beer cans. Give me a prediction.
Well, I think that those 5 figures who have recurred in several shots throughout the show, it seems that they are part of some kind of diabolical rite that involves the the rape and perhaps murder of women or young children. And we've seen a few scenes where there are 5 scary figures circled around someone lying helpless on the ground. And I think we're likely to see that resolved tomorrow night.
And Nick Pizzolatto, who is the genius behind True Detective, and you've written extensively about this for The Atlantic, I think a great analysis. He doesn't seem like he's headed for a twist. Like he doesn't like it when audience has been fooled for the whole season. He says it's pretty much the way the evidence and the storyline should make it.
Yes, he's been very clear on this. He said that the finale won't have anything supernatural. He said that the idea that either Marty Hart, the Harrelson character, or Rust Cole, the McConaughey character, that neither one of them will turn out to be the killer. I'm expecting there'll be some small twists in here, but I think he's basically going in the direction that he seemed to be going for a while. I don't think he's going to pull the rug out from under us.
Christopher Orr, thank you. My house will be in a radio silence tomorrow night. Please don't call.
Thanks so much for having me on. I've enjoyed watching the show.
Thanks for that. It's a must-read, a new book on the ADHD explosion. Is it fueled by medical science or money and ambition? I'm about to ask one of the co-authors.
Birdhouse plans, nacho pans, glass on floors, daily chores. For the little mishaps you feel, use Neosporin to help you heal. It kills germs so you heal 4 days faster. Neosporin. Use with Band-Aid brand bandages.
In my world, Wall isn't a street.
Return on investment isn't the only return I'm looking forward to.
For some, every dollar is earned with sweat, sacrifice, courage. Which is why USAA is honored to help our members with everything from investing for retirement to saving for college. Our commitment to current and former military members and their families is without equal. Start investing with as little as $50.
Can you find something you didn't know you were seeking? Open your eyes to the unexpected. Not to find yourself, but to let the world find you. Find it all in St. Croix.
What if you could shrink your pores just by washing your face?
Neutrogena Pore Refining Cleanser. Alpha hydroxy and exfoliating beads work to clean and tighten pores so they can look half their size.
Pores? Shrink them down to size.
Pore Refining Cleanser. Neutrogena.
She won't remember this, being carried in your arms. But after a morning spent in the Caribbean, playing pirates with you in secret coves, an afternoon swimming with dolphins, finished with a movie watched against the setting sun, she won't exactly be short on memories. Princess Cruises. Come back new.
Tomorrow on the premiere of Death Row Stories.
In 1982, Edward Elmore was found guilty of murder. He was sentenced to the electric chair. He was retried 2 more times. 36 jurors in total believed he should be put to death. See what happens when one law intern discovers what the system missed.
There was something wrong, and I started seeing what the lies were.
Death Row Stories. Series premiere tomorrow night at 9 on CNN.
For home decor and inspiration, I shop Joss & Main. Today, maybe I want to try something fresh, or glam, or cozy. With hand-picked items at up to 70% off retail, this is inspiration I can take home. Joss & Main helps you make your dream home your real home. Discover new sales every day at jossandmain.com. It's free to join. Visit now.
Where does Savvy Mom shop? Zulily.com.
I've saved probably 50 to 70% on so many things for my kids, for my home.
I buy all kinds of things on Zulily, including shoes for myself and great things for the home.
Zulily is like this little moment I can take out every day to do a little bit of window shopping.
Sign up today and find something you love for you, your home, or your kids. Zulily.com, a big selection of styles for a small window of time.
I'm Erin Burnett. This is CNN.
I've always wanted to host a book show here on CNN, and for the next 5 minutes, I get my wish. Today's book is The ADHD Explosion: Myths, Medication, Money, and Today's Push for Performance. And here to talk about it is one of the book's co-authors, Dr. Stephen Hinshaw, who's a professor of psychology at Cal Berkeley. Dr. Hinshaw, just to put the problem in perspective, the Centers for Disease Control says the number of children diagnosed with ADHD has jumped 40% in the last decade. Maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Perhaps it means that kids who are in need of a diagnosis are now getting necessary treatment.
Yes, I mean, part of the issue here is that we're finally recognizing a real condition. But a 40% jump in 9 years stretches credulity. It must be that we're diagnosing too many kids on the basis of a very brief pediatric visit that doesn't do the thorough job that's needed. So recognizing ADHD is fine, but this kind of increase has us concerned.
And you have charts and maps in the book that illustrate your point about the disparity that exists among the states in terms of diagnosis and medication. I'm putting one of them up on the screen right now, but you say, think about it for a moment. By living in North Carolina instead of California, the chances that a child would be diagnosed with ADHD were 2.5 times higher. How come?
Well, we looked systematically at a lot of factors. Maybe it's demographics. There's more Hispanics in California, and they tend to be diagnosed at a lower rate traditionally. That doesn't explain too much of the difference. Is it the number of doctors? That didn't explain much of the difference. When we got to school policy, this is where we found some very interesting things. North Carolina and many southern states started accountability legislation before No Child Left Behind. And when that started to happen, rates of diagnosis of ADHD jumped, especially for the poorest kids in those states. And we think that the focus on testing leads to diagnosis, both to get kids treated and in some cases to get kids out of the district's test scores. School policy may have a lot to do with this sudden jump in ADHD diagnosis over the last decade or two.
Let me say it in a simplified fashion, the way that I took it from your book when I thought it was provocative. It would appear that there is a relationship between high stakes testing and the increased level of diagnosis of ADHD.
That's right. So if test scores are the be-all and end-all, the district wants to get kids treated, get those scores up, but also in some cases, if you get a kid a diagnosis and a special ed designation, that kid's scores may not count in the district's average score. So both for legitimate reasons and also in some cases for gaming the system, diagnosis may be a quick and dirty, when it's not done carefully, way of either getting kids help or trying to get the boost in those test scores.
And Dr. Hinshaw, we have just a minute left between us, but you're also concerned that the new emphasis on pre-K is going to impact these level of diagnoses. Take 30 seconds and tell me how.
So pre-K is, I think, a really good thing. Left and right is pushing that these days. The American Academy of Pediatrics says we can and should diagnose ADHD early by the age of 4, but only if it's done carefully. If we push pre-K hard and don't take the time to assess and diagnose, we could get a surge of overdiagnoses, and that's something we want to avoid. Appropriate diagnosis is great. These kids need help when the problem's there.
Dr. Hinshaw, you've really struck a chord. I talked about it on radio, and I just can't tell you the level of interest from all across the country. Dr. Stephen Hinshaw, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hey, it's my program, so I get the final word. And when I do, I will explain why I have an emotional connection to, of all things, a new U.S. warship.
We all think about life insurance. When we start worrying about tomorrow, we miss out on the things that matter today. At AXA, we offer advice and help you break down your insurance goals into small, manageable steps. Because when you plan for tomorrow, it helps you live for today. Can we help you take a small step? For advice, retirement, and life insurance, connect with AXA.
If you purchased a computer, video game system, or other electronic device between 1998 and 2002 because your 9-year-old had to listen to, watch, or email her favorite boy band, chances are you paid too much. That's because the makers of DRAM, one small piece in those devices, are accused of fixing the price for the part, ending up costing you more money at the register. Don't say bye to your hard-earned money. Join the millions nationwide entitled to a refund. It only takes 5 minutes to file a claim. Just go to DRAMclaims.com. It's your money. Sign up and get it back.
Amidst a world of brilliant turquoise, there's an exotic new place where green holes meet blue holes, where every carefree pleasure is absolutely free, where time is forgotten and love is remembered. Sandals Emerald Bay, the Bahamas' ultimate all-inclusive golf and spa resort, close to home, even closer to heaven. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
Closed captioning brought to you by ChristianMingle.com. Find God's match for you.
As scared as I was, Christian Mingle made it so easy. He's my second chance.
Join ChristianMingle.com today.
On the next Chicagoland, while one side of the city erupts in celebration, another side of Chicago mourns the loss of one of its own.
So I feel like, worried, panicked.
Chicagoland, Thursday night at 10, 9 Central on CNN.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss. You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 1-800-474-9908. That's 1-800-474-9908.
The Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer, Monday at 5 Eastern on CNN.
Since 9/11, I've taken a keen interest in Flight 93, which crashed in western Pennsylvania. I wrote a book about Jose Melendez-Perez. He's an unsung American hero who was responsible for keeping the 20th hijacker off of that flight. I've often visited the National Park Service's memorial in Shanksville, and I've raised money for its completion, which is why last week I was thrilled to take our 16-year-old son to the commissioning of the USS Somerset. That's the Navy's newest war vessel, named in honor of the Flight 93 passengers and the people of Somerset County, which is where the plane crashed. In fact, I shot that footage with my iPhone. Maybe you already know, but a commissioning marks a ship's entry into active service. The tradition is 3 centuries old, and in our country, it began in 1775 when our Continental Navy commissioned the Alfred. The event was filled with pageantry. It inspired a sense of patriotism. I literally got goosebumps from the combination of the flags and the songs and the speeches. But most exhilarating was the setting of the first watch and the manning of the ship by sailors and Marines. The Somerset carries many remembrances of 9/11. 22 tons of steel from a crane that stood near where Flight 93 crashed are now in the Somerset's bow stem. The names of the passengers of Flight 93, they're all painted inside the ship. And there's another way that they're honored. See, in the early days of shipbuilding, when foundations were built with wood, the law of the sea dictated that each sailor who served as a member of the commissioning crew owns one plank that he may claim when the ship is decommissioned and disassembled. The 40 heroes of Flight 93 are all now recognized as plank owners of the USS Somerset. What a fitting tribute. But we also have to remember, given the events of the past 2 weeks, that this ship is designed for warfare and will be deployed as part of our Pacific Fleet. Of course, as our military is poised to diminish to pre-World War II levels, the deployment is a reminder that we can't fight all wars on all fronts, and that every newly commissioned ship is going to have to do that much more. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next Saturday.